Welcome to Small Town Big Life podcast, coming at you from the tool shed behind Grace Fellowship Church. Today we have Mark and Kevin with us to talk about conspiracy theories. We've all heard them, we've all discussed them, and we're. I'm sorry, the topic is. This is going to be a good, fun time here. Okay, so let's just dive right in. I actually pulled up some websites today, and about why do people believe in conspiracy theories, and I'll dig into that in a minute because there's some pretty interesting stuff in here. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, you ready to talk about conspiracy theories?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go first, Mark? Because I know that you were pretty enthused about talking about this.
I guess the first question there, and you said you're going to get into it, but that's what amazes me about it. I'm trying to figure out what makes them do this, or what makes them think something that's. A lot of times you have facts that are contradicting what they're saying, but what's the psychology behind it that really gets down to it? Why they do that?
That's an interesting point. I've got this website from Psych Central talks about all this, and the word you just said, psychology of conspiracy theories. It says conspiracy theories often take flight during unsettling times. For example, in a pandemic, during a close election in a politically divided country, or after a terrorist attack. Why is that? Painful and uncertain times might lead many people to find alternative ways to make sense of such shocking or painful situation, blah, 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 rehash. But we all know circumstances create conspiracy theories, and I think it's because people sit around and go, you know what I've been thinking? What do you think?
And that's always a problem when people try to think. So... yeah, I mean, psychology, you can read all about that. People are looking for an explanation when there's not enough information, and they'll grab onto anything. But once it takes root, that's where the problem becomes.
And in an age where we rely on memes for our information and taken as fact, I know Jackie's got something to say.
Yeah, but I think also people just seem more gullible.
Yeah, they do.
Than before, at least to me. Like, I can completely make something up when I'm hosting trivia, and people will be like, really? That really happened? No, that didn't happen. I just made that crap up just for a year.
I used to do that with my kids all the time. I just make up some outlandish story. They'd go, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not true, just so you know. But people do it now, and they're like, well, people do it because they want something to be true.
Yeah.
And so they'll say it's true, and it's, I don't know.
I don't think they want to challenge you on anything either. We've lost the ability to have a discussion about something and actually talk things out. So it's just easier to just say, "Oh yeah, that's great. You think you have extra arms or something?"
Awesome! Yay!
or the Earth is flat.
Exactly.
That's a great one.
That's man. That's the toughest one for me. When I heard that people actually believe that, I thought, "Oh, that's not true." And then I see there's whole groups of people that are like...
But then you heard me explain that it really was, and then you accepted it, right?
Yeah, because I believe everything you say.
Well, I did explain it at 99.999999991% the speed of light. The Earth is only about 17 meters thick. Therefore, it's flat. Now, that just means the conspiracy theorists are actually right, but they're too stupid to know it.
No, you're going to have to put this on the lower shelf. Okay, it's flat. It's round. It's round. This personality traits of a conspiracy theorist. I was just reading all this. Is everyone vulnerable to thinking this way? Not necessarily. Experts have found that certain cognitive styles and personality traits might be common among people who believe in them. According to a 2018 study, people who believe in conspiracy theories tend to show personality traits and characteristics such as paranoia or suspicious thinking, eccentricity, low trust in others, stronger need to feel special, belief in the world as a dangerous place, seeing meaningful patterns where none exist. I don't think we needed an expert to tell me that. I think I would have.
That one's true. The world is a dangerous place.
Well, I know, but
But the one they didn't mention, which is on other psychology sites, is lower intelligence. And I know I'm not trying to, offend anybody, but it's true.
I mean, I hear from all kinds of people, and it's always, the government. So the government doesn't doing this, the government's doing that. And I'm like, I know the government's up to some stuff, and I think that some things need to be kept secret by the government. Like some people say, well, government needs to come out with the truth. No, they don't. Not on everything. I don't want the truth out there for our enemies, but on some things they do need to. I just don't think. I don't know. I don't want to go strictly all government on this. It's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, the big one for me on that is when they say somebody makes the decision that the public can't handle this. Who are you to say I can't handle this?
Yeah.
Well, there's aliens out there, and we don't want to tell you because you can't handle it. Well, I'm okay with that if that's the case. I mean, I'm not upset about it.
And that's happening now. Lately, all the footage and the new whistleblower Gorsuch. Yeah, and of course, there's still no pictures. There's still no evidence, but there's interviews I've conducted, supposedly.
Well, the government issue. I spent 30 years in government, and I had top secret security clearances. And the one thing I got to know was they're not any smarter than anybody else, no matter how high up you go.
And everything's compartmentalized.
Yeah.
So they could never effectively, Bob Lazar, somebody recently made a comment that is pretty much common sense. If you have a lot of scientists examining something and you separate them and you say the metallurgists can't discuss anything with the physics, and they can't accomplish anything if they can't exchange and share information.
Right.
So you're limited in your capacity to move forward on this stuff. So but they keep it compartmentalized, supposedly. I still haven't seen any what I would call credible evidence. I mean, I watched a video one time of the recent UFO activity, and it was by a photography expert. And man, he broke it down and shredded it. And he said, here's why this looks this way. Here's why this looks this way. Here's why this looks this way. And I was like, because I'm a skeptic, which is why I'm a Christian. I need overwhelming proof that something's true to believe it. Most things I don't believe. And I thought, I still haven't seen anything that says, you know what, this is the proof. Here's the smoking gun. Have you?
Actually, I'm the opposite. I'll believe anything, or I'll believe everything until proven otherwise. So I'll
really
go with that. Yeah, if you think that, yeah. But saying that, I will check it out.
Jackie wants to high five you. She's the same way.
I'm not just going to say, okay, that's great. I'm going to check it out.
No,
I was watching an old podcast where you were talking about that. You go, I believe, we were talking about, I think, ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, I believe most of this stuff is true because I'm the opposite of you. You're talking about me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't. So that's good. That makes a good conversation.
In all this stuff, there's truth. Okay, there's things that are true.
There's got to be a grain of truth to something.
Well, there is. But, I mean, there's a grain of truth.
So you have to kind of ferret that out.
That's like me saying Bugs Bunny was real. Well, Mel Blanc was real, and the animators were real. So
right, in the cartoon,
I guess
there was real ink on the whatever on the side. So
Exactly. But
how come they never have good pictures? I don't understand that.
Well, that's what I mean.
We have magnificent cameras on our phones. We have cameras that are down to pixels and stuff like that. And you always have a fuzzy Sasquatch.
Yeah, and a satellite can zoom in on a rabbit.
That's right.
And now these things have mysterious the ability to disarm cameras and nuclear facilities, and I don't know. But we talked about UFOs and Bigfoot before, but we're talking about conspiracy theories today. And you brought up a good one in our notes, JFK.
Yeah.
I just watched one on that again the other day, and there is so much political background to that. Now, any of the conspiracy theories on there, they aren't outlandish sounding to me, like the ones where they think, oh, Castro was behind it. No, I don't think any of that's crazy. I just think we don't know. What do you think? You got any opinions on JFK?
I think he was shot. I think it was done by the CIA, and I think there'll be a black SUV out here to pick me up after we get
So you think it was the CIA?
Yeah.
Okay, so see, that's a conspiracy theory. So tell me why.
I don't have proof for it. I would say,
well, obviously not, or you'd be dead.
Right. I would not put that past our government to do something like that. And that's not running around being paranoid of our government. I think they're very capable of doing that. I think we'll get banned. All the shootings have been going on lately. I'm not saying that there hasn't been people shot in them. I'm not saying there hasn't been people injured in them. But when I see stuff that the same people are always on the scene at the same time that's going on, it makes me kind of go, huh, well, how come these people just conveniently show up here, all these tragedies?
Yeah, but they're not. And that's the thing. A lot of people are, and I've seen some of the videos and stuff, because when I see something, I watch. I try to research as much as you can call it research with the internet now, because you don't know what's true and what's not. Video as much as I can about, here's what happened, and then also the skeptics who have debunked it and go, this didn't happen, and here's why. And I find, like the moon landing. There's a big one. Did we go to the moon? When people first started telling me, we didn't really go to the moon, I watched the documentary and I thought, we did not go to the moon. and then a couple of weeks later, I watched another one. I'm like, we absolutely went to the moon. And
then you watch the Mythbusters, and then you say, yes.
Yes, we went to the moon.
We went to the moon.
We went to the moon. And then I was in somebody's house who worked on the space program when we went to the moon, doing a service call back in a long time ago. And her husband, their house looked like a NASA museum. And she said, he would get so mad when people would make this claim, as hard as they worked, as many years as they put into this and all this. And I think I told my wife and I talk about this all the time. I believe we went to the moon, but I do believe there's one question that just, if there's anything that was going to make me think we didn't, it's this one question: why haven't we gone back? If we went there, why haven't we gone back? And that haunts me.
Money, and the fact that we keep blowing up shuttles.
Political will. That's pretty
okay. Do you think
the bottom line is why that whole program was started, is because they wanted to beat Russia there.
Yeah.
Right.
And they thought they were behind. So we had to show American ingenuity and how we could go get it and do it. Not saying that it was a bad thing, but I think that's the biggest driving force behind it. And believe me, I've watched all of them, listened to them. There's aliens there that won't let us go back.
Yeah, on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, on the dark side of the moon. There's bases there. There's 2-mile-long spaceships that are crashed.
I've heard
there.
all that too.
There's vegetation that eats people. I mean,
it's interesting how these myths get, before we had anything, before we were technologically advanced, there were fairies. And then when we had armor and wars, there were dragons. And now we have screens and calculators, and now there's aliens. And I know I've bought every book on this. I believe all this stuff when I was younger. And I get older, and you're supposed to get a little wiser. I'm just more discerning about what I'll believe. Now, I think weird stuff's happening. Again, I'm going down the Bigfoot UFO trail.
And I agree with you on that, but I also look back to the grain of truth. Even like with the fairies and all that, there's somebody saw something.
You keep going down that rabbit hole.
They were poor at describing what attacked them in the woods, but something did it.
No, right. Sometimes it's just somebody wants to make something up to control other people.
Right,
True.
but you can blow holes through that pretty quick when you start talking to them.
Yeah.
I mean, and back to the flat Earth thing. I've had conversations with people that they genuinely believe it.
What do you say? What's your response?
I'm sitting when they first said it to me, I was so stunned that there was somebody saying that to me.
I mean, yeah.
And I just sat there and went, wow, wow, and kept saying that because I thought, and Kevin and I talked previously about this. I realized very quickly I had to be very careful with what I said and how I answered them, because I didn't want to make them, you're an idiot. No, I didn't want to come across that way. So I thought, okay, I'll just sit here and listen to what they're presenting to me.
People they get hostile.
They do.
About defense. Some guy got mad at me when I said something about COVIDiots, and is a thing about conspiracy theorists during COVID, because he was text inboxing me telling me that it's the government's wanting to control the food supply, and that's why they're doing all this. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
None of that's true. And then he called me a servant of the beast.
Oh.
And then I got mad and I unfriended him. I'm like, you crossed the line, pal.
Wow.
And I know but just to speak to what you said, people get hostile about their conspiracy theories when you try to take them away. And, I was like, wow, dude, that's a bit extreme. I'm the servant of the beast because I don't believe in your conspiracy theory that the government. Now, with COVID, man, conspiracy theories we have no shortage of them.
But it's like you said, that we don't live in a society now where we can have an opposite opinion of something and still have a civilized conversation about it. Now it's so just judgmental and in each other's face about everything. Like, I'm on a very opposite side of the political spectrum of some of my friends, and they call me names. They call me snowflake and all sorts of different things. But we can't even have a conversation about the logic of it all because it's just
Right.
Yeah, when people get hostile, it doesn't advance the conversation.
Yeah.
But facts don't matter to conspiracy theorists.
No.
Right.
If you try,
They'll make them up.
if you present facts, they'll disregard them. So
To support, a lot.
there's the psychological term of believing something in spite of all the facts is delusion. So
And then cognitive dissonance. You're so
absolutely.
You're so attached to your
Yeah.
belief system, you just won't hear anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of people like that. People call Christians that. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing now, but I give them all the reasons and all the different things to research to understand why that's just not true. And I also, one of the things I cite is say, there's a lot of people that became Christians who first set out to disprove it.
Right.
And in the process converted because they got to the point where, like, you know what? This really happened. So, but anyway, you're right. They don't want to be bothered with facts, and that's a common thing, and they get hostile.
Yeah.
That's back to the psychology of it, because when you confront somebody like that, and I have it right here in front. This is not an arguable point. This is a fact.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up. It's a fact. And they don't want to. Then, okay, now we've gone from just having a good conversation to there's something wrong that you're refusing to see things as they really are.
Yeah.
Or they attack. They'll attack your character.
Right.
If
Well,
they start losing their-
immediately, that's like you get the names, and it's
Yeah.
like my answer to that is okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can't advance any type of communication with somebody when you start. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just
Well, if they go personal like that, if you diffuse it by just, that's okay. It doesn't bother me. If you want to call me whatever name you want to call me, that's fine. I'm okay with it. They can't. They're done at that point. They can't say anything else.
True.
What are they going to say worse?
True.
this personality traits of conspiracy theorists kind of goes on after what I just read. See, it goes on examples of mental health conditions and schizopathy spectrum. I know I'm not saying that. And schizophrenia disorders, blah, blah, blah. Wait, let's get down here. Okay, many people have one or two symptoms but don't qualify for a full diagnosis. Preliminary research also suggests that believing conspiracy theories is linked to people's need for uniqueness. The higher the need to feel special and unique, the more likely a person is to believe a conspiracy theory.
I can see that.
Other personality traits commonly linked to the tendency to believe and follow conspiracy theories are narcissism, low agreeableness, openness to experience. That's one thing. People are addicted to experience
True.
hunting.
Yeah.
People want to, like, I see, again, we're going into ghost hunters and people that want to believe things and they're like, it's true. And you go, it's not true. They go, it is. Scientists 9 out of 10 said, plus 5 or 6 dentists jumped in and said it was true. And, you're like,
Well,
okay.
it's like that, the documentary that we talked about before on Amazon with the guy who
Shooting Bigfoot?
shooting Bigfoot.
Oh, man, that's hysterical.
And they were so serious and just convinced.
Absolutely convinced. Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
You really need to treat yourself.
It hurts.
Have you seen it, Kevin?
No.
You still haven't seen it. It's called Shooting Bigfoot. The filmmaker is obviously making a mockery of people who believe it, but he's pretending he's not.
Yeah.
And my wife put it in, and it's he found every backwards person you could to follow him around. And they know he's making fun of. Some of them do. But I put it in, and my wife, I had the audacity to put it in. My wife was in the living room, and she was staring at the TV. I was waiting for her to say something. She goes, "This is a train wreck, but I can't stop watching it." I said, "I know." And it's, I'm telling you guys, it's called Shooting Bigfoot. Shooting isn't
Right.
a camera, but man, good reference.
Yeah.
Because they believe it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about people who want to believe.
Well, I think you made mention of the in-group idea, the psychology behind being part of a special group.
Yep.
You know, we have special knowledge that the general public is just too dumb to
Yeah.
realize. And
That's ancient. That
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of thinking.
it's narcissism to
Yeah.
some degree.
Well, it's like you said, a degree of truth. Now, there are, especially in ancient times, systems and leadership where they did only have information that other people didn't. But people try to now apply that to this age in a. Here's the thing: people cannot shut up. They
Right.
cannot keep secrets. I don't care who they are. At the risk of death, if they think they can get a book deal, I mean. So some of the things that people say, well, the government's keeping this quiet. I just think, I don't know. That sounds like a tough one, a pretty big one to keep quiet, like Roswell. And people still now, and I used to believe Roswell was true, and I used to think the Betty and Barney Hill story was true until they came out with the expanded book with more details, and I'm like, I don't believe it that much anymore. And it's weird because they came out with that book to give more information to support the story, and it for me, I was like,
No,
now I got
they
more
came out
doubts.
with the book to sell more books.
Yeah, well, that's right.
So
That's
I mean,
right.
that's what when you said about being discerning. Yeah, I do. I believe everything until I
Yeah.
see another book come
Yeah.
out, and then it's like, okay, now you're making money off it. Now you're just making books. Now you're pushing it just for that reason. So
Yep.
let's go through that. Did something really happen? Could be. Am I going to say no? No. I mean, clear back to everything, the dragons, fairies, ghosts, all that stuff. I mean, I've checked out a lot of that stuff. I honestly believe somebody saw something at some point.
I
I've
do
gone to a
too.
TAPS convention. I've sat down with those guys and follow those guys. I've had experiences in my own life that I can't explain for that stuff.
So have I.
So can I say nothing's happening? No, that'd be just as bad as going completely off the deep end and going the other way around it.
But I think when we're talking about massive conspiracy, okay, look, if you
touch
have
on it in a second, because you touched on it earlier with what was
Go
in there. It goes back to everybody has to have a trophy. Everybody has to feel unique. Everybody has to. No, that's not true at all. And by doing that with our kids and the generation coming up, we've actually ruined them by doing that. By everybody's got to be special in some way or another. I mean, the other side of that is they used to put people in stocks. I'm not advocating for that, but they used to put them in the center of the street, or if they had mental illness, that was the crazy guy. We don't do that anymore. They're just out there, and you've got to accept them, and you can't talk to them. You can't ask questions about it. Do you have a mental illness? Well, we're not allowed to discuss that anymore. So we're not helping society in that sense. People generally have mental illnesses. They need help with it.
I know, but that's a tough line to cross too. I know people who have mental illnesses who are better contributors to society
Absolutely.
than and more solid people actually than someone who supposedly is normal.
Right.
And so that's a tough area. But in these broad big conspiracies where I lost my train of thought. How do we go down this road?
They're trying to make everything the same. We talked about it the last one about the gender thing. They're trying to make everything the same. Everything's the same. Everybody's the same. There's nobody, which is really funny because they want to give everybody a trophy and say, you're special and all that, but the opposite's really going on.
See, here's what I think about that. My wife and I talk about it. They. The problem is the word they.
They.
People say they. I go, who is they? Is there an office somewhere where they is written on the door? No, it's not. Here's what it is.
Go ahead.
Okay. There is, and I don't care how many people think this sounds stupid, there is satanic evil forces in the world. And so when someone does something that's evil and satanic, they don't know they're part of an effort. They're used like a puppet to do it. And so there is a dark force that is doing this. That's who it is. And you know, there's not a bunch of people that meet somewhere and say, hey, let's start sexualizing children and disarming old people and taking the guns away and controlling the food supply. Let's do that. There's not a group of people that meet and do that. There's an evil force that does that and uses people to do that.
Yeah, and their small contribution, they don't even know most of the time.
No, they don't. Well,
it.
It's because, and as a pastor, people that don't turn to God become the tools of the devil. And I mean, not every, I don't mean it. Listen, I'm not saying to someone who's watching this, if you don't go to church, you're a demon and an evil person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are people who are easily influenced spiritually, and the way they're influenced spiritually comes out in their actions in the physical world.
Absolutely.
So they exists, and the problem is we can't see them unless we look with the eyes of faith. That's why, and Christians do. That's why they look at the world. They go, "This is evil. This is wrong," and then people mock them, and they go, "Oh, evil, wrong. You're just, you're rigid. You don't want to accept change and other people's lifestyles." And it's like, no, man. I'm looking with the eyes of faith, and I'm seeing something really bad happen here, and. Okay, I'm done preaching. All right. So it is. There is a they. It's just it's in a spiritual nature, and it's sad that people get used to do that bidding. That's my take on who they is.
So they're not sitting in a room in Washington D.C. with little gray suits.
I mean, there's people in the world that sit around and that's what I was getting at.
Got it.
There have been movements where the government leaderships want to control things, and the government. Yeah, there's things they want to do, and then they've admitted experimenting back in Vietnam with trying to control weather.
Well, even
and stuff
earlier
like
than that, look at the Native Americans. What was done to them? Look at the African Americans that were testing that was done on them. I mean, they don't have a good record as far as that goes.
Who, the government?
Yeah.
No, but that's any government.
Yeah. It's not just ours.
Any country that's got any. Germany was the worst.
Right.
And so anyway, yeah, that's what I mean. It's humanity.
Which brings up the conspiracy theory of Holocaust deniers.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of those that like makes your blood boil.
Well, my mother-in-law was a Holocaust survivor. Her family was wiped out in Auschwitz, and here's what I always tell people that go there. I go, okay, let me settle this one way, okay, without going into a big discussion. If it didn't happen, how come Germany doesn't deny it?
Right.
If it didn't happen, why does Germany? My mother-in-law got reparations checks every month as part of the surrender agreement. She got checks, and if you want to stump somebody on a question, ask them that. If it didn't happen, how come Germany doesn't deny it? And
It's illegal to deny it.
Yeah. That's the end of the conversation there. Holocaust deniers. You're right. It does make your blood. It doesn't. Stuff like that doesn't make me angry anymore. I just turn off the conversation, and instead of
I just won't participate.
I just disengage.
Done.
I'm like, okay, we're done.
But see, my brain goes, why are they doing that?
Because they want to feel unique. They want to sound like they're. This is accurate descriptions about people that want attention. They want to sound like in the know. So okay, listen. When it comes to like Roswell, something like that, it is to our government or any government. It's to their advantage for your adversaries to think you have information that they don't.
Right.
So the government benefits from people going, well, they know something they're not telling us. Even if they don't know, it works good for them for people to think that.
Right.
So it's a win-win for them. If they've got aliens and saucers, good on them because they're ahead of the curve. If they don't, it's still good for them because other people think they do.
Right.
So, yeah.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
It's not. It's just logic. I guess I'm not gonna record any of this screen. I'm recording screen stuff here. In case I.
I just felt like throwing that in there.
Yeah,
for a
I think
second.
we need the little Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, JFK. Let's get on our list here. Have you ever seen a conspiracy theory that actually turned out to be true?
Sure.
Which one?
Global warming. And the oil companies.
But global warming has always existed. It's man-made global warming that's a myth.
It's not actually global warming that I'm talking about. It's the conspiracy theory that the oil companies hid it, which turned out to be true. And it was discovered in 2015 as the result of discovery in lawsuits where all of their internal documents were laid bare. And so it was really interesting if you've read any of them.
I've not. No.
So there is the proof in the pudding.
Exactly.
Where all these people who are still like, global warming is just fake news.
I have a good story about that.
There in Ireland.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But anyway, the history was in the early 70s, the oil company's own scientists were telling the executives, hey, this is a problem. What we're doing is causing serious climate change. And they began to really go into developing alternative forms of energy, and they spent millions. But then You had the oil embargo of 74. And in 1980, around 1980, the entire market crashed. And, oil was down to like $26 a barrel. And they made the conscious decision to abandon alternative energy and try to convince the public that global warming was not an issue. Mm-hmm. And all of this is documented internally with their own words. So they went to great lengths to just to confuse people, and they did it intentionally. They developed completely new forms of advertising that were very, very subtle to, like, I don't know what you call them, but they negotiated with, like, the New York Times to publish articles that looked like news articles, but they were actually really advertisements. And that's why nowadays anything like that, you see it has to be clearly marked advertisement at the top and bottom. Well, that's where it started.
That's where the word advertorial comes from.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They had I just realized this light was right over Mark's face. and I was like, how did that happen? And but it did. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Mark.
That's fine.
The first part of the podcast is going to be a big black square over your face. Man, I'm sorry. How long are we into this now?
30 minutes.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Well, I'll draw a happy face on it or something. I know what I'll do. I'll take a picture of your head, just a great big picture, and I'll just put it there like Monty Python, just a floating head. I'm sorry.
So anyway, the story I had about that, I was talking to a politician recently, within the last year, and the subject got onto global warming. And I said, well, just pull up a time-lapse video of the satellite images of the Arctic Circle over the last 50 years and just watch it. Mm-hmm. And the funny part is, I know this person never watched it, but responded to me with a text of an article that said the Arctic ice cap is regrowing. And it was
What does that have to do with? Okay.
So
it has to be cold to do that.
But the point is, it was from a website like BibleTruth.org, so allegedly a Christian website. So I read the article, and of course it makes this claim that global warming is completely a bunch of crap, and the Arctic ice cap is regrowing, and it had a link to the source data. So I went to the source data, which was NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and I found where they got their data, and it was just this graph of the the actual ice cover, and it was a graph that looked like this. It went, and the last two
down for people listening,
and the last 2 points. The last one was just slightly above the prior one, and that's what they were using to claim that it was regrowing.
Wow.
It was just an outright lie. And but they were convincing Christians who go to this website that it was all a conspiracy, that global warming's not really happening.
It's so arrogant.
So, it's
no doubt.
Anyway, so it's interesting, but
it's people do that with they manipulate information all the time. I remember back in college we had to do research about people who claim statistics and go to websites, and we went to one. It looked like it was a pro Martin Luther King Jr. website, but when they had to go to the bottom and navigate the web host and all this stuff they made us do to find out it came from a white supremacist group that was trying to spread disinformation because everything was believable. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you can't. So they said the only way, we had paid memberships to get into the official libraries of Brown and Harvard and of the papers and American Psychological Association. They're like, these are actual trusted sources. Websites, you have to research extensively before you can say, yes, this is a good source. But so that supports what you just said. They take all that information and put a magnifying glass. Hey, this'll support our argument. I just saw on the news on TV I don't know what station it was, but they were talking about an uproar in Ireland about about signing a bill to kill 200,000 heads of cattle because the cow farts are destroying, the the people that believe in the man-made global warming are, they don't want their cows out there farting up the planet and ruining it, and so we got to kill them. And there's all these farmers going, "Are you out of your mind?"
Right.
And then there's people that need to eat,
Right.
who are saying, "Are you out of your mind?" Now that's what I mean when I talk about evil. How do you ruin people? Well, you turn everyone into a sodomite and you get them to kill all their food supply. That's a good start. That's a good start. And then you separate people who can procreate. That's a good start. So you take away your ability to procreate, and then you kill and destroy the food supply. And then you just give a vaccination that's really been loosely researched, kinda, and get everyone to take it. And hey, man, people say, who's they? That's why I think they is the evil that's pulling the strings in the world that people don't realize they're participating in. So that's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That's called the Book of Revelation.
New World Order. New World Order.
New World Order. I know when I take the dirt nap, I know where I'm going, and so I'm okay with. I just keep my faith up the world, but it is crazy to watch when that point when you're talking to somebody about something and it sounds like a conspiracy theory. You're okay, you're listening, you're cool with it, you're open minded, and then they get to that point where they say that one thing, you're like, yeah, we're done here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the hard part, to break the conversation. I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy, man. I can only say that's crazy, man, so many times. That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I gotta go. I got a dentist appointment. 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's busy.
He's
real busy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. It is tough to engage when you hear something. What's the most outlandish thing you ever heard? Conspiracy theory, Mark.
If you throw a ball up in the air, this is back to the flat Earth thing. If we're on a flat, how is it explained? If we're on a flat Earth, it shouldn't come right straight back down to you. And I was like, what?
Why?
There was something about that we're moving enough that it shouldn't come down in the same spot. It should be someplace else. And I'm thinking, I've literally laid on my back as a child and
throwing a ball in the air,
and it comes back down to me. So I'm thinking, okay.
Wow.
What's the most outlandish thing you ever heard, Kevin? Or
I'm
Jackie?
not
I don't care. I was debating on who to talk to. I was looking at you and pointing at him.
Well, I think flat Earth probably.
Flat Earth?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Oh, well, flat Earth is probably the biggest one, yeah, but.
And they'll get hostile if they hear this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get hate mail.
Oh, you're working
just
on
you.
It.
Not me.
And I've said this before. What's on the other side? I want to know what's on the bottom.
When you flip it.
You never hear that.
Yeah, what's on the other side?
I've been playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and now I know.
Now you know
it's
what's
called
on
the
other
depths.
side. The depths are on
The
the
depths
other side.
are down.
Isn't it? What was it on Stranger Things? The other.
The upside down.
The upside down. Is the upside down there?
I don't know. They never say that. Is it rocky?
But how come
Is it
there's
like a big beach? I don't know.
Why is there no other planes? I mean, because we're not on Earth, and at this point, we're a plane if it's flat. So why can't we see any other ones out there floating around? Maybe
Because they're not going fast enough.
No,
like Kevin
I know.
said
I just
earlier.
figured it out. They're not. They're facing this way.
Oh, that's what it is.
So it just looks like a line. I don't. Yeah.
You're going to get bailed.
There's a line out there. I just can't imagine what you have to spend your time with that. I mean,
that's the thing, though. People spend all day, or they spend
Why didn't they make the Death Star flat?
I don't know. Every time I watch, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I see the ship flying. I'm like, how does that work? I mean, is there? Because if they fly in,
Yeah.
they're not curving up. But that's just a writing issue. We
could do Star Wars
we could do
conspiracy theories all day.
Oh,
I mean,
boy, could we? Yeah, I gotta agree with you guys. Flat Earth is. It's just, man. Did you see Adam or Savage, which is a MythBusters guy?
Yeah.
Is that it? I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He when he went up into space and then you could
plane.
see the curvature of the Earth. Myth busted.
Fish eye lens.
Well,
That's
fish
what
island.
they
Yeah.
said.
Here's the thing. People are, well, it's a conspiracy. Okay, why? Who does it benefit for me to think the Earth is round if it's
It's
not?
photographic trickery.
It's
Exactly.
The biggest people. Yeah, I mean, who benefits from that? And that's what I tell other people. They go, who benefits? Mankind, an average dude, probably lives, let's just say, 75 to 80 years. Now, What do you plan to do by manipulating the whole world that's going to make your life that much more fruitful in that time? That you're going to get together with a bunch of people. Let's control the entire planet for what? We're going to be dead at some point. I mean, who does it benefit? That's the first thing I have to ask when people have a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Okay, if your theory's right, who benefits from it? Who benefits from this conspiracy theory? Now, I know there's people in the world that are just greedy.
Well, yeah, you can.
Well, I don't know. For using the flat Earth one, who does?
That's what I'm saying.
The flat Earth
I
one.
just have a whole lot of more questions about it.
Well, it's people. That's what I mean. It's people that want to seem unique. I think they think like if you go to a party with them, you'd be like, you know what? George knows the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Tell me about it, George. I want to be your friend now. You know something I had no idea. Hey, is your friend George around? We're having a party this weekend. I'd like him to come over and tell everybody about this unique thing he turned us on to. I mean, I
was out there in Antarctica and it just dropped off and went to nothing.
That's
Where
another
did
thing
the penguins go? I don't know. They just fell off the edge.
That's the man-made global warming people do that too. They show all these videos of polar bears on the
Dying
floating
polar
ice.
bears, yeah.
That's how they hunt. First of all,
Right.
Yeah.
Second of all,
They
3
don't
years
look
ago,
unhappy at all.
3 years ago, their population was the count was higher than normal, and it's like what you said about people just fabricating numbers to say, look, this. Oh, there's so much
There's
disinformation.
one more polar bear this year
Yeah.
in the last 10 years.
Well, that's a whole nother thing because when I was younger, it was baby seals. Everybody had to save the baby seals.
Yeah.
Don't beat the baby seals. Or those poor Eskimos are up there beating baby seals.
Harp seals.
Harp seals. Yeah.
Yep, I got a pair of harp seal gloves. No, I'm just kidding. I
terrible?
don't.
Oh, you horrid man. you.
Wow.
No, I don't have any such thing. I got some spotted owl fuzzy dice on my car mirror. No, I don't have that either. Ooh,
But I mean,
he's a pastor.
it went
I'm just kidding, people. Come on.
Went from harp seals to you name it. Now it's polar bears. Now the polar bears are all dying. Don't they look sad? Don't you want to help the polar bears? I mean, come on.
That's just a line from a restaurant when they see a price that's real expensive. You know, you go, this is, how much is, what's in this? Spotted owl and harp seal chunks better be in it for as much as it costs. that's
P.O. Box.
yeah. No, it's just, I don't want people to, oh my goodness, it's just joking around.
I've never killed a baby seal, just for the record.
Yeah.
I've never killed a baby anything. I mean, you know, no, yeah. So, they're also saying the orcas are getting smarter now, but that's true because they study them and
Are they getting smarter, or are they?
well, they're
have an
learning.
agenda?
They're learning. If you watch these guys, these guys that have no agenda, they just study them. One of them will do something, and the other ones watch, and they're very. That has nothing to do with conspiracy theories, though. So let me get back on track.
No.
It's the polar bears.
It's, yeah.
Let's talk about the Georgia stones because that's amazing.
I heard that just got destroyed.
It wasn't. It's recently, but yeah.
Yeah, that broke my heart, man. When I heard that was vandalized and destroyed, and the Georgia Guidestones.
It wasn't. Yeah, Guidestones. It wasn't vandalized. If you watch the tape, it was organized destruction.
Okay, no,
And
I don't remember. I just remember it's sad.
In a matter of 30 minutes, somebody came in, precisely placed the explosives. They're not sure what kind of explosives, but it was something pretty serious, and put them on exactly the spots where they needed to destroy it, do the most damage to it. And within 30 minutes, the construction crew was there cleaning up the mess and getting rid of all the evidence.
I don't know. Well, see, things like that. Who benefits from that? Because
how do you coordinate that? That's the first thing.
well,
That doesn't just happen.
it's already been documented. It's been photographed. It can be remanufactured. I mean, we have the historical record of it completely detailed now.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever destroyed it accomplished nothing other than making people upset.
I mean, imagine if we had phones and texting and social media and live streaming when JFK was shot. I mean, there would be no doubt.
Oh yeah,
But
Yo,
it'd
there'd be
somebody
phones.
running alongside the car going.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, there'd be phones everywhere. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But now, yeah, when someone does have a conspiracy theory, it takes 5 minutes to debunk it on most of them, some of them.
Well, why? Who do you think did it?
I think somebody was upset about the New World Order part of it and took it out. Am I upset that they did? No. Am I upset that it was there? No.
I think some of that stuff's open to interpretation. What I found about fascinating was, to me, wasn't really any messages that were in it. It was the work it took to do it, and
right, and the planning behind it. I mean, it was
the planning
laid
behind
out.
it. Yeah, I never really looked at it as some kind of a revelation. I thought it was interesting, but just like Muslims destroying every artifact,
right,
and that they find it anything that's of historical significance, just to destroy it for the sake of destroying it is not. That's like the opposite of learning. You must unlearn what you have done. To destroy everything around you, burn all your books, and just sit in a corner and believe what I tell you. That's conspiracy.
Right.
That's a whole religion. That's a whole movement.
Don't think for yourself. You only believe what I tell you to believe.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's one I found interesting because, I mean, there was
Is it Guidestones? That's what they're called.
Georgia Guidestones.
Guidestones, yeah.
They were there, and everybody had issues with who did it and who funded it and where's it from and what's it really mean, all that. And then it got blown up.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, the construction crew showed up immediately. That's what's impressive to me. I mean, you have a construction crew with the equipment immediately shows up and like sweeps it away. So somebody had.
Are you sure they showed up immediately?
Yeah, it was immediately.
Was it? Okay.
So somebody had to know what. I mean, it had to be more than one. It wasn't just a random drive-by. I'm going to blow up this monument thing. Mm-hmm. Did they really accomplish anything? No.
No, you don't. And that's what I mean. That's why I think and we know that's not a theory. It happened.
Yeah.
I mean, so, but things like that, you wonder. I always wondered about why people start computer viruses.
Because they're bored.
Well, that's what I mean. Why just say, you know what? I want to get everyone today. I'm going to create this, and it'll be awesome. Only I know about it, but it'll recap. I mean, that's like it's such a jerk thing to do. I just don't get why.
It's power, though. It's
I guess
having omnipotent power over other people. Ooh, I can do these things to your computer.
The conspiracy theories are going to run wild now with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Right.
And because we already knew about deep fake technology, we know what that is.
Yeah.
And now they can. I've watched so much on this recently. They were talking to one of the guys at Google, and he was giving an example. He had a screen, and he said, show me a picture of a Labrador retriever with wings in a meadow. And they showed it, and it looked real, and it was convincing. And it wasn't just somebody photoshopped it. It looked like the way wings would look if a dog grew wings. And I thought, wow. And they were doing this with several things. He goes, can you do it with video? And he said, yes. And he goes, well, why isn't that technology out there? And he goes, you know what people would do with that technology? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, wouldn't there be restrictions? He goes, yeah, there could be. And that he said the problem is that it's going to get out. He said it's going to get out there. And I started just use your imagination about every sickening person or even political agenda. Like, show me, pick a political leader you don't like or anyone.
Clubbing a baby seal.
Make me clubbing a baby seal, right? Or robbing a bank when they were 17 years old. And I want the mannerisms, the voice, and everyone to be convincing, and it should look like a surveillance tape that was hidden, and put it in the archives and then figure out a way to go on the internet and put it in the archives of their computer as a save MP4 file. And then, I mean, there's nothing that can be stopped. Artificial intelligence can shut your bank account down. It can. Yeah. It's and the conspiracy theories. Now that we know AI is good. Now, at first, I tried to be an optimist because people got freaked out when debit cards came out. It's the end of the world's the number of the beast. You know, your hand on your forehead, your head looks at your hand goes up, you're going to hell. And then when the internet, they go, the devil's internet, everybody's communicating, we're all going to hell. It's the end of the world, book of Revelation. And every time there's the year 2000's coming, we're all going to hell, the world's going to blow up. Jesus is coming on 2000. He'll be on the January 1st. I mean, every technological advance, people go, it's the end of the world. Jesus will be here in an hour. I mean, the Bible says we don't know when it's going to happen, and that's why I believe that.
And we shouldn't be that way anyway.
Well, AI also lies, and they gave some examples. This was on 60 Minutes in Australia. You can look this up. The reporter said. He told the AI, he said, write an introduction on doing a story for AI about me. And it said, 60 Minutes reporter. And it read it was really, he goes, that's better than what I wrote. And then it gave his background, and it said who was interviewed, He said, it was lying. It made up his resume, basically, parts of it, and it sounded convincing. He goes, that's none of that. A lot of that's not true. He said, but I wish it was. And so if AI will try to fill in the gaps because it learns from us, what do we do as humans?
We make
lie.
stuff up. Yeah.
So the AI is like, this sounds good. And so that's frightening. But I also believe that perhaps people are overreacting. I hate to admit this, but the bigger part of me thinks it's more scary than it is something that people are just. Do you have any? Do you have any thoughts about how it could go south?
The fact that it's not so much that it can lie. The fact that it wants to tell you what it thinks you want to know.
Yes,
is
good
bad.
Point. Good point. What do you think about AI, Kevin, and its potential for world destruction?
Here we go.
Yeah. How much time do you have?
Jesus come back with Revelation. We're all done.
Yeah, we're all gonna
exactly.
die.
That's my comment.
That's your comment?
I don't think we have any idea how to even predict what can happen with it. So it's, I guess that's kind of a cheap way out of saying, I don't know. And that's,
well, it's honest.
That's a problem. I mean,
a lot of people make that same assertion. They say the same thing, and it's a responsible answer because you're right. If you could sit here for a long time and just create scenarios because there's literally nothing it can't do without the hardware resources.
But it's gone from that to just like with the orcas. Okay, we're concerned that orcas are attacking people in boats now, which they never did before. That they're learning how to do this. So you're concerned about AI because it's doing stuff that. I mean, it's the same thing.
But that's the speed at which it does it.
That's the scary thing about it, though, because now you're comparing it from an orca to AI, which that's technically not real, even though it is. So, I mean, we've taken a step there farther than what we were before because, I mean, you're talking about a being or an animal, a creature that can think and do that. But now we're talking about something that was man-made.
And if they exist the way I say they do, and I'm a pastor, so I know evil does exist, imagine what it can do when it's not even having to worry about influencing a person, but influencing a digital system with ones and zeros. I mean, that's even, the principalities of
Absolutely.
Satan is in the air and the signals and it's the book of Revelation. I think people read it and they're like, it's the only book of the Bible that offers a special blessing to those who read it. And trying to figure it out used to make no sense. And as technology advances, you're like, you know what? This is starting to make a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
So, Kevin? I think you were still in mid.
No. I just think AI if you say it's limited by the hardware resources, you don't know how quickly it can get to the point where it can generate its own hardware resources.
Exactly.
Yeah, jump from one point to another. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's controlling the Boston Dynamics assembly line. Is that what you're talking about?
Who knows?
You try to take the microchip out. Let's laser print another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially you're talking about robots making robots.
Exactly.
Because that's what that would have to happen. People say, well, that would have to happen before a Terminator scenario, but a Terminator scenario isn't necessary to break down civilization.
Right.
First of all, you could just take people's electricity.
Right.
And that'll break down civilization. And that's easy to do because everything is on a grid now. And you could wipe out everyone's bank accounts. And that's easy to do because that's on a grid. So you could just hit 2 off buttons and remember the Twilight Zone episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street? You ever seen that? Okay, that's my favorite. That and Andy Griffith are my 2 all-time favorite shows. It was these aliens out and at the end of it, there's a street of people. It's just normal neighborhood. And their lights all go out. Their electric goes out. And then they're meeting in the street, and one of them's they see something fly overhead. They're like, what was that? Well, I don't know. And one of them, his lights come on in his house. He goes, how come your lights are on? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I think you do know. Why do you have electricity? So paranoia sets in, and then they start thinking about what happened overhead. And by the end of the episode, they're a mob. They're accusing each other. It's horrible. And then they show these aliens watching from outer space. He goes, we don't need to do anything. Just need to leave them alone for a while. They'll destroy themselves. And I was like, that's an accurate assessment. You take people's electricity and their bank accounts, and they will, unfortunately, people who are godless will go and kill and steal from their neighbor rather than try to form an alliance with their neighbor to help solve the problem.
It's like Stephen King's The Fog. They go from, hey, there's a weird thing going on outside, to let's sacrifice this young boy in the middle of the grocery store to appease the gods who have brought this plague upon us.
Yeah, people get really primitive fast when they take away their comforts.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to think. Let me consult the list here. See if there's. So we flat Earth. Who shot JF? Did the British government kill Princess Diana? Well, oh, you know what? Did Jeffrey Epstein really hang himself? No way.
No.
And now, Pete. Now here's where the conspiracy theories start.
Go ahead.
No, I don't.
You're both over there saying no.
There's not one that I buy into. I just don't believe he hung himself. I mean, unless he did it with a phone cord.
Can you tell which ones I put on the piece of paper?
You can tell, yeah. Okay. Jackie,
What?
you're going to bust. Just tell me who did it.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah. Who had it done? I think I know what you're going to say.
You know exactly who I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say it because I'm going to get hate mail.
The Clintons?
Yeah.
No.
Somebody in the royal family?
No. Think about
Bugs Bunny?
No. I don't think about.
It was a baby seal.
It was a baby seal. Think about all the people that he had dirt on in this world.
He had dirt on a lot of people.
Exactly.
Who had the power to get into a jail?
Turn the lights off, kill the camera.
Kill the camera, pay the guards to go look the other way.
You sound very naive right now.
Probably.
No. It's a legit question because there is someone who has the power to do that. I want to know who specifically you think it is.
Who do you think it is?
Because everybody thinks it's somebody.
I think, don't send me hate mail. I think it was either Donald Trump or Bill Clinton.
Why would Donald Trump want him?
It wasn't Donald Trump.
How many chicks did Donald Trump have on his lap at an Epstein party?
Good grief.
Come on.
None. He had his arm around one and they tried to exploit that picture. And that wasn't even someone
that was
who...
Prince Andrew.
No, Bill Clinton, on the other hand. Hi, how old are you? You look like a cheerleader. Would you like a Pabst Blue Ribbon?
What would Donald
I'm here
Trump
on
gain from
Jeffrey's
that?
Island.
I'm not
What would
defending
Donald Trump gain from having someone with photography and documents about him spending millions of dollars on illegal things?
Who?
Exactly.
No, who did you say?
Donald Trump.
Why would he? What would he benefit from having him killed?
Keeping it quiet.
You're the only human being I've ever met that Donald Trump.
Donald Trump kept quiet about.
Bill Clinton was like an active pervert.
Yeah, so is Donald Trump.
See,
Donald Trump is a very active pervert.
I
Grab women by the you-know-whats.
You ain't going to get hate mail, girl. You're going to get made fun of mail. What you're going to get.
That black SUV is going to be.
I don't know. Yo, look, everybody's got a right to think what they want to think because the bottom line is it is true. I mean, it's true that it's weird. It don't matter who you think did it. I think most people agree he did not hang himself.
And
it might not be either one of them.
We can agree on that.
There's a long list. There's a long list of people that probably wanted that information to disappear.
Oh, a whole bunch of them.
Exactly. And the medical examiners.
Hey, Jeffrey, I got a friend coming to see you, buddy, down there. He's going to bring you something to eat.
And the medical examiner's report shows that there is absolutely no physical way that he could have fallen off the bunk and.
Oh yeah, when you see the crime scene,
his neck.
There's no way he hung himself. And when you like what you just talked about, when you see the details of that whole thing, I am an anti-conspiracy theorist, but I'm like, you would have to be an idiot to think that. I can't believe someone had the audacity. He was in a room with a guy 400 pounds that hated him, but he hung himself with a phone cord, and everybody happened to be gone, and the cameras were off.
And the guard was sleeping, and there were aliens outside. And
have you ever seen? I saw a funny meme. It says, "What does this?" It was a Christmas time ornament. It had a Christmas tree, a Christmas ornament on a tree. It says, "What does this have in common with Jeffrey Epstein?" It didn't hang itself.
I have that ornament.
Nice.
I
had an air freshener that had that as well in my car.
Now Jeffrey
Epstein, air freshener didn't hang itself.
Jeffrey Epstein was a bad dude.
Why not a good man? Off the girl though.
Why don't they what?
Why haven't they offed her yet?
Gazelle
for it.
Yeah, Gazelle.
She's in the clink.
Yeah, he was too.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. I've been,
Yeah.
any day now. They keep waking her up every 15 minutes.
You can make a prediction.
She met with an unfortunate accident. She hit herself in the back of the head with an axe 16 times while she was in solitary confinement.
He ran.
You got to be careful in there. Sometimes an axe just fall right out of the sky.
He ran straight into my knife
He ran straight
10 times. Thought he would have learned.
I did not. I don't know anything about that. I don't know.
No, I've been.
Depends on what your definition of is.
Yes, that's true.
Oh no, we're in so much trouble.
Oh, that wasn't me. I was Janet Reno. You got to watch out, Janet.
I'm just saying. There's a long list.
Yes,
There's a huge list of people.
You probably don't even know the long list. I mean, there's probably more people on there that just got an honorable mention
that we don't even know about.
And they're all rich and powerful.
Exactly.
And they all have the ability.
Rich and powerful people.
Okay, did the British government kill Princess Diana?
I know none of you care about that, but yes.
No, I do. I think it's pretty
it was an impact that killed her, so it really wasn't the British government.
Oh.
Ow.
Ow.
Ow. Okay.
So who do you think killed her?
The British government.
Not her husband?
No.
You think she was an embarrassment to the royal family?
The theory is yes, that she was an embarrassment and that she was pregnant with Dr.
Whatever
his name was, his child. So then a member of the royal family would then have a brown child.
Like that's never happened in the Crown's history of crazy sexual escapades?
And what do? They hide them away for 6 months and give the baby away to someone else, or they kill the person.
All the towers were full, so they had her hit a wall.
I guess it's not prestigious to. I don't. I always think of the Naked Gun when the Queen would see her and he goes, when he was talking about the police department protecting the Queen, he goes, we're going to do the best we can because no matter how silly the idea of having a Queen may be to us, we're going to do That's, I don't get though. I watched The Crown though. I watched it. I hung on every episode still. Thought it was great, but I don't know.
I'm just saying
I don't know. It makes sense.
Point of view, that family is.
It wouldn't be the first time that someone in the royal family killed another member of the royal family.
Right.
No, it wouldn't be the first time. There's the guy, the Duke of Shireton's, Worthingtonshire.
Yes.
The Worthington Rise, Duke of Earl, quarter of 10, ace of spades. Remember that Bugs Bunny cartoon? He's knighting him. Arise. Yeah.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think but I just it's not that unusual in that there's family to make a big deal about it. So
somebody in Castle. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Monty Python.
Monty Python.
What is it? It's Castle. Maybe he was killed. He wrote out.
Why would he write out?
He was bonded and called out. Then later they goes, it's a man from Castle. I can't think of the royal family without thinking of Monty Python.
That's right.
I wish I had a holy hand grenade right now.
My favorite line is when King Arthur's talking to God.
Yes. No, stop
God's
that.
telling
Stop
him
that.
what to do. Yeah, stop that.
Stop that groveling.
And he goes, good idea, Lord. And God goes, of course, a good idea.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's the old man from Castle. All right. Wow. Our conspiracy theories have now gone into full bloom. Let's see. So I don't know. A lot of people share your opinion on that. It's definitely not unrealistic. If you're going to believe a conspiracy theory, the JFK one, the Jeffrey Epstein one, the Queen, they're the ones that could probably get your attention to think. You could think, you know what? That's not completely ridiculous. Now, Flat Earth, completely ridiculous. Roswell's another one that could get you to think. When you were talking about that, I meant to say, I read a book by General, I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter what his name is because the point he made just echoed what you said. He said, people say, well, the world can't handle it. And he's an old man when he's giving this interview. He's about to die. He goes, this world has seen a Holocaust. They've seen nuclear war. He goes, people can handle more than you think they can. He said, if you told the people in the world this, they can handle it. And I thought, you know what? I agree with him. I don't think people are going to run out. As a pastor, it doesn't change any of my religious views. It doesn't change my spiritual beliefs. It doesn't say aliens are here. Jesus doesn't exist. That's ridiculous. I mean, people can handle it. It's like what you said.
Orson Welles in The War of the Worlds. That's the example I get. Every time I ask this question, that's the example. Well, people lost their minds and went and did crazy things. Well, people do that every day.
Exactly.
So was it really that caused them that panic? And if they panicked over that, I kind of question how stable they were in the first place.
Exactly.
It's like, are you really saying that if we found out tomorrow that Jimmy Hoffa really is in Giant Stadium, is that going to change anything?
No.
Exactly. No, we know why. I mean, yeah.
So, ta-da!
But you hear that statement a lot. Well, the general public can't handle this. I mean, that's like the statement they use all the time. Where'd all the giant bones go? They went to the Smithsonian. How come the Smithsonian never has them? Do they hide them in some magic basement downstairs and we never see all this stuff?
I know.
We'll keep them down here. No one will ever know about this dinosaur.
That's what I mean. Who benefits from it?
Right. The general public can't handle the fact that there were giants. It doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't change anything.
No.
That's why some of them are hard to believe, because you're like, the theory doesn't benefit anyone.
Yeah.
So we're at the end. You guys got anything else you want to cover before we wind down here?
Nothing that wouldn't take a lot more time. So.
We might have to do a part 2.
We could do a part 2.
Or a part 2.
Part 2.
This has been fun. The jokes
Yes,
are
it has.
fun. Conspiracy theories are, I don't know. I don't think anyone's...
Monty Python makes everything better. So.
Exactly.
Monty Python makes it. Yeah, so closing out, most conspiracy theories, I don't believe. Some of these ones that Jackie had written down, brought up, they're ones that are thought-provoking because they're plausible. Flat Earth, not plausible. And I know I just said all this a minute ago. What's your closing statements, Jackie?
The truth is out there. How's that? How's that?
That's a ripoff. All right.
I know.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Kevin?
I don't believe anything I read. So I'm skeptical about
So
everything.
government controlled the language. They invented it. That's what they took it from the king, and they messed it all up.
But
they political corrected it, and it's all trashed.
I have to say that knowing that you worked for the government for 30 years, if you don't believe things, I feel okay.
That's right.
You know, it's like, yeah, I feel fine now.
Well, maybe he's doing a deep state sneak thing
like-
there, and he's misinformation. Yeah.
I work for the government.
You work for the government?
Trust me, I work for the government, and I'm here to help.
There was an episode of Andy Griffith where I love that show. The mailman was arguing with Barney about something, and he goes, "Hey, I'm a Fed, man." He's a federal employee. I'm a Fed.
I'm a Fed.
Okay, Mark, closing statements.
Back to what I said earlier. I believe everything, but I will check it out until otherwise I've disproved it. So,
all right, guys, had a blast talking about this. This was a lot of fun. Chasing our tail. All right, thanks, everyone.